Okay, if you check the description of Sonic Clacker's playthrough commentary, you might have noticed that I will be covering unused stuff, which I'm now gonna do. And yes, you'll notice a window change. I like it. Now, let's get into it. Oh. And here we go. And Sonic Crackers. Okay, Sonic Crackers, or as referred to the Sonic Studium in the ROM header, was a very early prototype of Knuckles Chaotix, composed of different game engines swapped out using RAM coding as the title suggests, and Sonic Tails, with the stars here. As the Chaotix cast is nowhere to be found. Like, literally, there is a color palette of Knuckles left over in the ROM, but he isn't used. Until later, the 1207 prototype, it was later used, and the palette was updated. And Vector also had a different palette as well. Yes, and this build was dated into was April 1st. April 1st. 1994. Yes, crazy, I know. Now, it was found by Morgoth from the Evil Empire BBS Belgium of June 19, 1995. It was one of the substantial early prototypes to be shared with the number 190401 led to much of the debate as whether the title screen, a particular art that looks like it was thrown together in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or the whole ROM was a hoax, or it was just a ROM hack. I don't know. The later discovery of several Chaotix prototypes were found in 2008, especially the 1207 build. Also, July 1934 can be viewed the ROM through a hex editor, which may not be given among the other graphics in the June 1994 prototype. You has go think about whatever, however you say it. Wait, unused Tails sprites? Much later, various Crackers graphics were used for a Gauntlet Zone in the 2013 version of Sonic 2, although the zone was never normally accessible, and both of it and its assets were later removed. Now let's get into it. General, it works entirely the same, but it's still incomplete. But Sonic and Tails were scrapped from the final, even though they weren't actually scrapped. Tails is just a leftover using Knuckles' sprites and Mighty's palette. Yet, on certain emulators, the game will crash even if you play as 10-star, or known as Wekdia. Sonic was just a recoded sprite with edit pixels and turned into an armadillo. Well, Mighty the armadillo, if you know. Yeah. The turn sprites are identical due to Mighty just being a reskin of Mighty. It's Sonic. Tails got removed. Literally. Even though his functions were still functional in the 1207 until the 119 prototype. The game is split to the 4 playable levels, or known as attractions. Side-scrolling levels similar to seen Sonic games and fields. Overhead levels that really have no collision. So there is no like slopes, anything. It doesn't even it lets you walk on water. Yes, I know. It doesn't even have a barrier. All it just lets you is walk on water. A, B, C, X, Y, and Z share the same functionality as you saw from my gameplay, causing one player to jump, the CPU to stop moving, and if close enough, one player can pick him up and chuck him around the level. These functionalities were later what am I trying to say? Were later kept in the chaotics and kept the attractions also. Oh wait, what? I just. The jumping and holding buttons were separated, and a recall button was added due to the controls being too complicated for one person. Pressing start allows the player to move Sonic and Tails' X and Y positions around with the D-pad. Much like debug mode, except you can't place any object, like springs, spikes, anything, even though there is no rings, which are placeable. Wait, there is a debug mode, but you just can't place any objects. Pressing A, B, or C plus start will reset the game. This was kept in the prototypes of Chaotix. There are counters hidden below the viewable screen that contain debug mode info, such as the player's X and Y. And the Seagull logo was reused for Shinobi. The arms of the character's arms will sometimes glitch out, and sometimes will dislocate themselves. Literally. The soundtrack, if you maybe heard, these soundtracks are early versions of the soundtracks used for Chaotix. As I heard before, I believe I said one was Electroia, which had a completely different soundtrack. Well, no. I meant to rephrase that. Electroia had a completely different track. Well, music notes that were later here. It's like but then it was like the rest were kept the same. Some differences, better samples, all that stuff. There are levels, and yet there are full playable levels, which are accessed by pressing starts on the 1 player or the 2 player on the title screen, or use the level selects. World 1. This level was either a circus, carnival themed level, rather than having a defend end loops. The collision detection is glitchy. Like I said, sometimes path swappers are a problem, and the collision will sometimes just act dumb and stuff. The level, every time it moves, the collision gets more broken. If you go far enough with debug mode, strips of garbage data will spawn. As we saw whenever we went down, no collision. Yeah, the music heard is Electroria. When timer reaches 1 minute, game over, tune plays, and then World 2 field. It's like the game is like doesn't know which field to pick, so it just chooses which field to go to and then just chucks you to that field. And World 2 is an industrial themed world, as it is an early version of Techno Tower. When the timer reaches 3 minutes, or when the top of the level is reached, the game over tune plays and World 1 field is entered. Yay. Worlds 3 through 7 and Premium 1 to 2 and special stages were never worked on. They could either lead you to a title card, as the game over tune will play, and it sends you to one of the 2 field levels, which are playable, but the field levels for the Worlds 3 through 7 aren't playable. In Premium 1 or 2, we actually don't know what they look like. They just are there. I bet the game crashed. I haven't tried that. Options is just a simple sound test, accessed from selecting options on the title screen. The screen will remain unchanged, aside from the option text being removed and the counter being positioned at the bottom right of the screen. And select is just the level select. Attraction 1, level 1 stuff, and yeah. Extra characters. Yeah, like I said. Remember what I said, that there's an unused color palette that has Knuckles' and Vector's sprites? The color palettes? Yep. They both share the same color palette, including Knuckles and Vector. I wonder why. There was an unused World 2 field level palette cycle? It can be hacked in by using codes, whatever those are, or and yeah, the level, yeah, this can be restored, and yet there is a ton, and I mean a ton of unused chunks. I'll just go through them. Whatever. What is this? 5C? You okay? Yeah. I don't know what these are supposed to be. Some decoration tiles? I don't know. And Techno Tower actually has some lots of chunks that never actually came to the light of day. And yeah, a backgrounds for Techno Tower that has stars. They never actually go used here, but they're there. And yet, there is unused sprites for Sonic and Tails, including a font, the title screen font, which these all go unused. Want to know what these are? These are, hold on. There is an exclamation mark, whatever this is, dollar sign, thing for a switch, I don't know, an and sign, whatever it is. Star, plus, and yeah, question mark, a sign, and there it is, unused ones for H, J, K, Q, X, Y, Z, a bunch of more, and then there is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, those go unused. No wonder why they let them out. Wait, no. There we go. Yeah, so those gonna go unused. There's jumping sprites for Sonic and Tails for the field levels, even though they can't jump there. So these go unused, unfortunately. there's holding sprites for Sonic and Tails, even though these weren't implemented yet. And oh, I thought I was about to sneeze. Oh. There's throwing. Tails looks like it's the weakest one there. Yeah, because Tails, him and his having a weakest throw. Sonic looks recent. I think the last sprite was used. I think the last two sprites are used but never actually seen, I believe. Sonic performing a wall kick is never actually seen. And these were used for Mighties, but they go also used. They don't go used as well. Sprites for a hanging and then climbing up a ledge. Tails only has a hanging sprite, and we actually don't know what his climbing up the ledge sprite looks like. There's Tails flying, even though those don't go actually used. And there are sparkling effects, which I don't actually know what these were used for. Also, there's sparkles when collecting a ring, even though rings cannot be collected, and you lose rings whenever you hit spikes, which I actually haven't showed you. HUD objects, which are like time attack and rings, were used, but most of these actually never got used. Limits, use, hurry up, cool, whatever these are. Combi, limits, a blank looking thing, points, rings, time, slash. Yeah, remember when I said that certain emulators can let the game run when it past the Sega screen? Well, we're about to talk about that. The game will crash on a real Mega Drive / Sega console, and by that, if the player does not skip the Sega screen quickly enough or stays at the title screen for too long, this is due to the side dropper, which is held and controlled by this. Yeah. I'll make a part 2 soon. So yeah. See you, I guess. Is it ready? Is it ready?
No, it's not.
No, okay. No. Never mind then. Yeah, the game will crash because the track will never be played, so the game will crash. But there is an easy way and a hard way. The easy way is just get in hex editor and open the ROM and go to offset. Find this. And then replace 2105 1C 7E with 11 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0. There we go. The hard way, if for whatever devilish devilish reason you want to do this without modifying your ROM, you could just do that. I got blast him. Yes, I know. And as soon as you load up the game, quickly press U and open the debugger and enter this prompt. Press C and press enter to return back to the game. This will give Sonic Cracker a sound engine to play something to avoid crashing. Additionally,
Oh my god.
you can terminate your choice and enter a argument to open the debugger as soon the game loads. When the crash is bypassed, you can obtain you can obtain the access to select any option. The game will crash if you select Premium 1 attraction, and the game will crash with a plain blue screen of death. Same things have happened to Premium 1 field, which will lead to World 2's field stage first, and will happen upon pausing and pressing A. Yeah, the game name says Sonic Studium. Wait, no, the ROM header says Sonic Studium, as the game title is Sonic Crackers. But it should actually be saying Sonic Stadium. This is due to an error from translation to Japanese to English, which there is no D syllable, so G is used in its place. The short vowel A in Japanese is pronounced as an English word, and yeah, it was apparently supposed to be saying stadium instead. And
Did you kill us on the game?
And Sonic Crackers was supposed to be Sonic Crackers. It doesn't distinguish between L's and R in Japanese, so it would just try to use an R instead due to the translation error. So it would just do that. And this would also coincide how actual Clacker toys act, like how they fling around. Now there is unused sounds from the ROM entirely, which there are, and there are unused sounds that go unused. I'll save this one for last. Now here's the Sonic CD jumping sound effect, a Sonic 1 Entity Actality Finish sound effect, a sped up version of the unused repping sound effect from Sonic 3, Sonic 1 Bomb Explosion sound effect, Sonic 1 Skidding, Ring Loss, Sonic 1 Ring Collect, there is no left pan variant, Sonic 3 Badnik Destroyed, Sonic 3 Spring, and Sonic 1 Checkpoint after that point. And there's Sonic 1 Checkpoint. I would recommend turning down the volume because this actually scared me.
Stop it!
Did you hear that? Let's play again. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but it says it instantly plays a stop command. However, a voice is included in what's played here. There's also a PCM sound effect of a woman saying let's go and hey. Here, let's go. Here.
Hey! Let's go!
Yeah, they don't use vocal samples. none of the samples like these two never go used. And the music here are early versions. So I'll play them all to you. Yeah, sorry. That's copyrighted. But yeah, all of these go unused. And some are early in development. So as I said, I covered this, and now you're welcome. I will see you next time. Bye!